Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today let's go over a Leetcode hard question in the database category that I just solved on my own. So I'm super happy about this and I'm very glad that I was able to come up with my own solution to this question without any assistance. So let's go over it and let me show you how I did it. So this is question 3554, find category recommendation pairs. So I found that the description was a bit confusing, so I just went straight to the examples. And basically, we're trying to include all the categories where at least 3 customers purchased from both categories. And notice that you can't have the same category in category 1 and 2, and that the alphabetical order is supposed to be less than, right? So those are the key points if you look at the examples, so let's do that. Let's first get the user ID and all the products they purchased, because you'll notice that this column is referencing this column. So let's first do that step by step. So for I, we're going to iterate over this column to get this. So for I, UID, and enumerate product, purchases, user ID. So D of UID, we're going to append because one user can purchase multiple products. So product, purchases, product ID of I. Okay, so now that we have that, we actually also want to map the product ID to the category, right? Because we're going to go through all the pairs that the user purchased, because those are going to be the different categories. Duplicate or not, we'll filter that out later. So let's go ahead and do this. Let's call this map, and let's just go over product info of product ID, and let's say map of P is equal to product info category of I. Okay, so now that gives us what we need, and let's go ahead and loop through each dictionary or each key in the dictionary, and let's call this now. So let's print K and now. Okay, so you can see that this gives us all the pairs that we need. Cool. So basically now we want to go through each pair. So for I in range length now, and for J in range length now. So if I is not equal to J, then that means that they're not duplicates, right? Because if they're the same index, they have to be the same value, right? So now let's go ahead and print now I. So let's call this just 1 and 2 is now of I, now of J. Let's print 1, 2. Okay, so that becomes easier because we can just map the actual number to the value in our map dictionary, right? So let's call this map 1 and map 2. So that's just going to give us the products that we're looking at, right? So cool. So now we can just say if let's call this A and B, map of 2. So let's go ahead and print AB and just get rid of this so we can see. Okay, so now that we have that cross pair, we basically want to go ahead and look at how many customers purchased from both of them. But we can do that because we can basically create another dictionary called count and make it of type set, because we're just going to add the users that purchased both of these into the set as the value and this as the key, right? So let's call this count of A and B dot add K, because K is the user ID, right? Cool. So now let's loop over count and let's print C and count C. Okay, default dict set. Okay, so looks like we have some errors here. Books and clothing, for example, have 3 different customers. Let's do this. So I'm not sure why this is a little bit different. Okay, so you know what? Let's just say this size is length of count C. So if size is bigger than or equal to 3, then let's print C and count C. Okay. Okay, cool. So you notice how this is not supposed to be duplicated. Books and electronics, because books is lexicographically smaller than electronics in the alphabet. If you compare B, it's less than E. And so, good. So we can just go ahead and gather our answer now. So, oh, this is not even at the right indentation. That's probably the issue. Okay, cool. There we go. So, all right. So now we can just say the smaller. So let's just call this now for simplicity, because they have to be less than, and you might get duplicates. Like the pair is the same, but swapped. Let's just call this smaller, and larger is minimum of now and maximum of now. And if small is not equal to larger, then we can go ahead and print small, smaller, larger, and now. And also the size itself, because that's how many customers purchased from both, right? So, minimum of C. So we want those names. Okay, cool. So, and then we don't want duplicates, right? So we can just say if smaller, larger, size is not an answer, then we append smaller, larger, and size, right? Okay, so let's go ahead and print answer. Okay, so that looks correct, except we need to sort it. And it says we want to sort here by, let's go ahead and add the lambda, descending order in terms of customer count, which is this column, and then x0, so category 1 normally, category 2 normally. Okay, so that should match up with what we see here. And it does. Cool. So now we can just gather our results and we're pretty much done. So let's make 3 columns for v and answer. A.append v0, b.append v1, c.append v2. And then we just set those columns and return the data frame. Customer count is C. Okay, let's go ahead and run this. Okay, submit it. And there you go. Passes all test cases. So again, I'm super happy that I was able to come up with my own solution to this question without any help and solve it completely on my own. So that's it for this video, and thank you for watching.